Welcome back to Action Figure Obsession. I'm your old pal Avian and Loaded, and here's a video about Bullseye. He's the reason why I turned the camera back on, and then I thought, I was reading a thread on Reddit about this guy here, what was it, 2014, 2015, somewhere around there. I think 2015 was the Netflix wave / Man-Thing Build-A-Figure wave. That included that great Jessica Jones, the Netflix Jessica Jones, and the Man-Thing Build-A-Figure, obviously, and the first John Bernthal Punisher, and I think the first Charlie Cox Daredevil. It was one of the first waves when I first got back into Marvel Legends that I bought the whole wave. I got the whole thing at Toys R Us and made the Build-A-Figure. And the standout figure of that wave for me was this guy right here. Benjamin Poindexter, a.k.a. Dex, a.k.a. Bullseye. This is, so far, I think the best comic book Bullseye we've gotten. This rifle, this AK that he's got here. Pay no attention to that. Pay no attention to him standing up or laying down. Oh, my goodness. Gravity says, pay no attention to the rifle at all. Okay, all right. We're off to a brilliant start, as always, here on the show. And anyway, at the time, 2015, I believe, this Bullseye figure was the standout of the wave for me. I loved it. I wish I could go back in time and buy 10 more. It is on the Sunfire body mold, which at the time was brand new. It may have been maybe the third or fourth figure released on the Sunfire body mold. The first one was the white and red Spider-Man 2099. The second one was Sunfire in his classic Japanese flag-themed, red and white costume. And this may have been the third figure on that body. It was new then. It has, the usual features of, the usual drawbacks, I should say, of the Sunfire body mold. Look how tiny those shoulders are. How far down they are from the traps. It's not good anatomy, but the design of the costume kind of makes you forgive a lot with this, because they did such a bang-up job of giving us the Bullseye from the Miller and Jansen era of Marvel Comics and the Daredevil book when it was at its peak. And this is kind of a restored figure that I restored using pieces from the Man Without Fear 3-pack Bullseye with blue torso, because this figure I got used. It's in great shape, but it was used, and it was missing this holster, and it was missing I believe it was a gray or silver needle gun, kind of like Nick Fury's gun. So I gave him one of the many sort of brownish orange ones that I have in my collection for some reason. It's one of Marvel Legends' worst pistols, but this holster was designed for it. If I had one in a better color, I would give it to him. The one that came with Nick Fury in the Nick Fury Gamerverse 2-pack with the Punisher, that I believe was black, and that would be perfect. But the issue there is that this holster was designed for the sort of Model 1 of the needle gun, and so it's smaller. And the bigger one wouldn't fit in there. And I tried it, believe me, because I'd much rather have a black or dark gray gun than the, orange. But I guess we just pretend it's like gold and he's, showing off his bling, whatever. Yeah, so it was missing the whole holster here. The belt that we have on the 3-pack one is actually the belt that came on this one when I got it used. I just did a little transfer. You can see that somebody cut off the holster from it, and I had to restore the knife to this one, because this one was missing the knife, or the knife was fine, but the paint was coming off the handle. So I grabbed one of the many knives from the Shield, between the Shield 3-pack and a bunch of other figures that have come with this sort of combat knife. I've got a lot of them laying around that aren't damaged and still have their paint intact, so I stuck that in there. So basically, they're both restored in their own way. But this Bullseye is much more important to me. The Netflix Wave one, the Man-Thing Build-A-Figure Wave one. And if you look real closely, you may notice that he is actually not black like he is in the comics, although he is, black with blue shading in the comics. But if you look very closely, you see it's actually like a midnight blue. And I find that very appealing. I feel like it brings out the detail better than just a solid, dark, deep black. I think his knees might need some Kiki's joint fix. But the head sculpt is a little cartoony, a little comic booky. It's not very Frank Miller or Klaus Janson looking, but it is insane looking, and that definitely is a hallmark of Benjamin Poindexter, aka Bullseye. If you're not that familiar with Bullseye, Bullseye's superpower is that he never misses. He can kill you with a paperclip or a cork from a wine bottle. It's kind of been over exaggerated over the years to the point where he can throw a postage stamp at you and cut your throat. I don't know where the force of that and how the wind resistance doesn't work to stop it. It's become kind of a cliche, and it's not really very realistic, but hey, it's comics. This figure, the Man-Thing Build-A-Figure Wave one, the first good Hasbro Bullseye, came with this head, although this is the one from this guy, because again, I just got this figure and he was missing his holster even and accessories. But it came with this nut job head, which was based, I think, on the Netflix Daredevil TV show. I think at one point he cuts that pattern into his forehead, or maybe that was even that might have even been what's his name there, Farrell, Colin Farrell, in the Daredevil movie. Now that I think about it, when he played Bullseye, maybe that's where that's from. That cutting the bullseye into his forehead idea. It's a crazy looking head, but I mean it works for the character. It definitely works for the character. I blinged out the 3-pack one with a gold Uzi from that I got when I bought a whole bunch of Uzis on eBay when I lost my mind one day and bought like $50 worth of 1/12 scale Uzis because I was just so desperate to make sure all my Snake Eyes had an Uzi. And I ran out of black ones on eBay because I bought them all, so I bought a few gold ones too, just to be on the safe side. I mean, what part of action figure obsession don't you understand? I went on there to spend like $5 buying an Uzi on eBay and ended up spending like $50 because it was the only way that I could make the math work. And I ended up with so many Uzis that I now have a special baggie full of Uzis in my weapons crate. So the 3-pack, let's just kind of draw some distinctions here in case you're curious. This Man Without Fear 3-pack, I think, was a Hasbro Pulse exclusive. And it included these 3 figures. This is the Man Without Fear Daredevil, not the VHS one that had the cell shading. The white version of Elektra, which is after her resurrection, when she is no longer, tainted by the hand. And then the blue torsoed Bullseye, which I believe is from a more recent comic book than any of the Frank Miller stuff. I've never read any comics with the blue torsoed Bullseye. I don't really understand why he would have that on his costume and make himself even more visible than all the white stripes do, but maybe I'll read that comic book someday. This Elektra, I think, is absolutely stunning. It's a big improvement over this Elektra, which was the previous one that we got in the SP//DR wave. You'll notice she has no bicep cut, so her arms have very limited articulation. She has those has-blows that only swivel at the elbow. And this particular one is even more decrepit because one of her feet broke off. I think it was her right foot, and I had to super glue it, so posing is very limited. But I did buy a second one, and I actually have her with my Red Ninjas in my G.I. Joe Classified display. So I have I have 2 Elektras in my Daredevil display, and then I have a third Elektra in with my Red Ninjas in my G.I. Joe Classified display. Action figure obsession is real. The 3-pack, I think, was $80 or $90 at retail. I'm quite certain that it's a lot more than that now because I see people on Reddit talking about how they can't afford it, and it's a shame. I was lucky enough to walk into Replay Toys one day in Burnt Hills, New York, and it was sitting right there on the box, or the box was sitting right there, brand new set, on the shelf, and I think he had it for the original Hasbro Pulse price. I think it was $80 or $90 I paid for these 3 figures. And so it's an upgraded Daredevil, it's an upgraded Elektra from the Daredevil and Elektra that we had before, the best Daredevil before this one here on the left. The best classic Daredevil was the Infinity Wave one from like 2015 on the Bucky Cap body, which silhouette-wise, you might prefer it, but